Hey everyone, welcome to Inkscribes, the comics podcast where we discuss the art and craft of comics. I'm Colin Singh. I'm an aspiring comics artist, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Eric Zawadzki, the artist on the critically acclaimed Assorted Crisis events, out now from Image Comics, and Taylor Stauft, creator of Luke Zenith and Scorpio Gold. Today, we've got a very special episode where we're going to be covering the work of the late, great Dave Stevens. Dave Stevens unfortunately left us in 2008, but he has such a small body of work which has been reprinted over time, and we're going to discuss why.
Yeah, we sure are. This is a subject that lives right inside, right in my bones. With the
You're a
Right
big
here
Rocketeer.
in the
Rocketeer guy?
I think I'm more of a. I would describe myself more as a pulp fan, not expert, but like I did pick up on the pulp references in these issues. Both Doc Savage and the Shadow pop up
Oh,
as
interesting.
like wink, 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 wink. We can't say it, but wink, wink.
I know a couple of the Doc Savage references. I'm not a big pulp guy, so it's a bit of a blind spot for me. So,
Pulp is one of those things that's like don't look too into it. It gets real weird and kind of creepy, but
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 you're a
I
big
think
Indiana Jones guy.
yeah, I like the. I
In
guess
fact, you did a series that was kind of a spiritual, like the Genesis was based around Indiana Jones.
it was. That's true. Yes. If anybody wants to finance the publishing of Jason Zhang, let me know because all 96 pages are done, ready to go. But yeah, it's more of the pastiche, I guess, that I'm a fan of because to be honest, pulps in their original form not that great. They're written by kind of down on their luck guys, paid by the word, and they
And it was
get
meant to be done quickly, right?
and
So
yeah,
it wasn't
done
really. It's quick and
quickly,
dirty. Like,
cheaply, and yeah, and just for fun, thought of as
A
disposable.
little bit racist, just a little bit
Not
racist.
a little bit, but and it was meant to be disposable too, right? So I think what's interesting is that nowadays comics were also intended to be disposable. That's why they used uh, newsprint, and here we are, this pristine issue of Star Slayer #2, in which Rocketeer first appears. Uh, what about you guys? What do you? How are you feeling about the Rocketeer?
Well, I'm a huge pulp guy too, and my first exposure to Rocketeer was the movie back in '91.
Yeah,
And I think that era, like early '90s, they were kind of exploring the pulp characters too, because they were doing the Shadow and the Mummy with Brendan
and
Fraser. A lot of
the
movies like that were
Phantom.
coming out around that
Yeah,
time. Yeah, the Phantom, right? I remember that one. Billy Zane,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah, I loved them all. I ate that stuff up, and when I got a little bit older, I got into the comics because they were also like Rocketeer back issues were kind of hard to find, right?
And we will find out why.
So, and my allowance wouldn't cover it. So until I got a real job, I wasn't able to get those. But yeah, like Dave Stevens himself, like his work is just all time phenomenal stuff, right?
it's crazy because he was working basically as Russ Manning's assistant at like age 18 or 19, which
Yeah.
I
we don't hear a
saw
lot
that
of.
earlier
That's
too,
even earlier than that.
like 16 sort of thing.
Now, is that is that a sign of progress that like teenagers aren't working? I don't know how to phrase this, but like aren't in the workforce as heavily, or is that like an unfortunate part of our modern age that like I don't know, the 16 and 17-year-olds aren't working under masters, aren't being
That's a good
uh
question because you're right. Like that's akin to an apprenticeship, essentially,
yeah.
right?
Mm.
And you can see it in all kinds of mediums. James Cameron, for instance, could be considered. He didn't go to film school.
Mm.
He just was he essentially got an apprenticeship under Roger Corman, and you don't see that very much anymore, right? It's go to school, learn the technical side of it, and You don't get it
Yeah,
now.
something you brought up in the Alex Toth episode was that, like, way back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, like teenagers went to work.
Yeah, because they weren't a
Like,
concept, really. Like they weren't. It wasn't this. There wasn't this space where you're a child learning to be an adult. You are like, well, you're 15 or anyway 13 onward. Like, well, you better start bringing money in. You better start. If you can't afford to live here, you gotta leave. That's why Stan Lee got his job at 17, 18 at Timely, just because like
so there has to be a connection there between why, like, teenager apprenticeships don't happen, and why, like, a lot of artists in comics end up breaking in their early 30s nowadays. Whereas we look at the history of these comics, and like so many great artists were working at age 20, 22.
it's often a sign of cultural prosperity. If your kids don't have to work, then they're not going to work, right? If your parents have enough to provide for
Okay,
you,
yeah.
they're the ones thinking, man, I
That's a
had
good
to
point.
work and I hated it, right? Like I hated having to go to, I don't know, some sweat box to bring home enough money to cover my part of the rent. So I'm not going to make my kid do it because I don't have to.
Well, Colin, you're the only one here with kids, so you got to be really tough on your kid,
Yep.
and he'll grow up to be great.
Get a job
Don't worry.
9 years old at the
Don't
smelt
you worry.
factory.
But yeah, so it's crazy how much of a prodigy Dave Stevens seems to be.
Yeah.
Eh? Like, because how old was he when he drew this comic?
Oh, it was 81.
Yeah, so I think
55.
It's 26.
Yeah. But he had been working on other stuff. He had been working on there's a famous cover for it that does not reflect the
Alien
internal.
Worlds.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, on one of the back covers of one of these comics, I think you can see an advertisement for Aurora,
Yeah.
which is an interest.
That cover there.
Yeah, there we go. So that's a new cover drawn in probably 82, but it's advertising for something that was drawn in like 1977 for Sanrio, which is, you guys know what Sanrio is most famous for?
No, what?
Hello Kitty.
Oh yeah, okay. That makes sense.
So Sanrio, I guess, was in Hollywood in the late 70s, and they were trying to hire American artists to do like a heavy metal type magazine geared towards a female readership in Japan, I think.
What a swing. What a real swing.
Yeah, they hired Dave Stevens to do a story, and they asked him to do like a Mobius type style.
Yeah. Which he is embarrassed of.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's embarrassed by most old work, but that story, that magazine never ended up coming out. No. So the Dave Stevens short story never came out, so he got the rights back, and then I guess Bruce Jones was publishing Alien Worlds, which was like an anthology series, and I guess there was for issue 2, somebody dropped the ball and there was no art for issue 2. So Bruce Jones had visited his studio and seen the art and said, hey, can I have that art for issue 2 of Alien Worlds?
Yeah, he drew it in like 76, and Alien Worlds number 2 comes out in 83. So this is like, there's 9 years. No, there's 7 years between like what he drew then and when it was published. But this is what he's known for. And in fact, this is the very first Rocketeer image that he ever drew. He was approached at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, I guess he was. They asked him come up with something, and he just drew that. And I guess he decided to build a story around that, this image.
And he builds it one page at a time, because viewers, there's a lot that goes into making a comic, and there's a workflow that
you gotta get your typewriter out. You gotta.
Yeah. That's not what Dave Stevens does. Dave Stevens writes and draws these Rocketeers one page at a time. Like he is completing the inks on a page, and then time to start on number 2.
That comes with all its own problems, though. Like he got his start, inking and doing his artists for Russ Manning and working on Tarzan and that. And he got kind of tired of inking and wanted to start penciling his own stuff. But he says that it when you're doing it on your own, it doesn't matter if you were in the industry working as an assistant, like you still don't really know what you're doing when you're doing it all by yourself. And even
Yeah,
storytelling wise, he had to do these like more than 8 or 9 panels sometimes per page. And he just
just
kind
to
of
cram it in.
just to
Yeah,
cram it all in. And yeah, and he hated doing that. He prefers to work in 4 or 5 panel pages, right? To let the work breathe.
I do
And
want to.
it's happened, like he screwed himself more than once, and he wanted to just get the story finished. He just wanted to finish Rocketeer and move on to the next thing. And
It
he still
does
had no
seem.
idea how he was going to do it page to page. So
It does seem like eventually the Rocketeer became way more trouble than it was worth for him, which is astonishing, right? Like it seems like such a perfect. Uh,
Well, it was a lark, right? He had a day
yeah,
job,
yeah,
and it's like, hey, can you do this backup strip? And he was only doing it on his free time, and it was never meant to be a big serious thing. But they got a whole bunch of fan mail
yeah.
saying that we love this, we want more, and it became a bigger thing.
just want to take a chance to pause at this
Beautiful work, yeah.
glorious
Yeah.
Mike Grell art. We will be doing some Mike Grell episodes in the future, and this is the sort of thing you can look forward to.
Such
Yeah,
beautiful
so
like double
he's.
page spreads here, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Like, look at that. But this isn't a Mike Grell episode, and we are on a time crunch. We are on Rocketeer, baby.
So
Come
it's
on.
interesting. Dave Stevens doesn't consider himself like a comic artist or a writer. Like
No,
he's an artist, and
he's like an
I think
illustrator.
when he worked under Russ Heath, he saw the time crunch that a comic artist has to go through, and he went through the gauntlet, and he realized that I don't want this. This is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, in a lot of interviews, he basically yeah, he does not consider himself a comic artist or a writer.
No, no, especially a writer. He thinks his writing is just atrocious. Which I don't know. I don't know how you could. I can't. I don't think you can say that.
Yeah,
Just
the way
because.
he did it was wrong, right? If he did it
Well,
right, he would be
oh
better at it,
sure,
right?
but I think like the dialogue, he gets everything like feeling correct. I don't know. People don't talk exactly like this. They're talking a lot more formal because English is a language that changes within decades, let alone nearly a century. But the all of the dialogue feels pretty authentic, or at least what you're expecting from a comic book called The Rocketeer, set in 1938. Um, and
Yeah,
I mean,
so you're saying he's a lot better at it than he would.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Like maybe he's aping the old pulps, but that's what's fun about it, right? Is that's what this is. This appears alongside uh, Doc Savage, no problem. I mean, they even had. Well, Eric sent us the Rocket Men, Rule of the Rocket Men.
You find on YouTube, yeah, an old
Yeah,
serial
the
from.
Republic serials.
Those are from what, the 40s?
Late 49 to 53, because there's a lot of them. Like those are, I'm pretty sure, all of their general rocket themed characters put together, because there's like Commander
There's a whole
Cody.
genre.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this kind of pseudo spaceman. They're not quite at the part of history where they know space travel is possible. So there is a little bit of like, maybe we can just like go into space on our own. Is there air up there? Can you take it with you? Like there.
And rocket technology was like brand new, right? That was like cutting edge.
Yeah. It starts in the 20s with noted Operation Paperclip member Werner von Braun and known sorcerer Jack Parsons, known sex magician. I'm not kidding. The guy joined like Aleister Crowley's cult of magic and sorcery, and tried to fuse them with rockets, which tells you where rocketry was at the time, right? It's like, is this a science? I already know the science. What if I add a little art to it? Yeah. But very first page.
So how many? So I guess he was mostly inspired by what is it? Commando. What was the name?
Commander Cody. Yeah.
Commander Cody.
Commander Cody. But as we'll see later, there's also a lot of Doc Savage in here, because Doc Savage is responsible for making the rocket pack. They can't tell you that.
Oh, interesting.
Well, yeah, due to rights issues, they can't say outright, "Oh yeah, this is Doc Savage."
Oh, okay. Now I'm connecting some dots here because of some stuff that was said at the end. I didn't realize that was heavily hinted at because it's basically it is the billionaire from the 1940s.
Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes.
And
yeah.
So he would have been the one to suspect in a real world. Like, if anybody is going to be able to make it, it's aviation billionaire Howard Hughes. But the characters that are looking for it are part of the Fabulous Five, the assistants to Doc Savage.
But one of those characters is kind of in both worlds. Like one of those henchmen type characters is part of the Fabulous Five, but also an actual real life associate of Howard Hughes.
It's there's no they are never actually named. You get the first part of their. He says the first part of his name. He says Mayf, and then it's cut off, and that's Monk Mayfield. But But if you had just heard the first part of the name, you could assume it is the real life guy.
Oh, the guy with the monocle. He's called Noah Dietrich.
Oh, is that what it is?
Which I did a Google search. I did a Google search and found out that was like a known associate of Howard Hughes. I think the guy wrote a book about Howard Hughes but he has the monocle because that is a character from the Fabulous Five that has a monocle as well. So I think that, and I might be wrong about this, but based on what you said, I think the guy with the monocle is supposed to be both. He's supposed to be a Doc Savage character and also a Howard Hughes associate.
I think they're both supposed to be both, but their overall design, because it's not just the monocle, it's how well he is dressed in it as well. Ham is the character's name, and he is known as the best dressed man in New York in the Doc Savage stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting how rich this stuff is. It's on right? The surface, it seems, I don't know, like kind of basic adventure story, but there's a lot of details behind all this stuff. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, starting out the Rocketeer, he didn't really do much research. He was kind of going off his love of the genre, but towards later on, when the book actually got successful, he started paying more attention to the design of the cars and what was going on during those times, fashion sense and that sort of thing, even lingo. So
yeah, he had to, and I think that's what really slows him down.
Yeah, it was like 6 months between issues sometimes, or all the time.
A week. He's doing a page a week.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely insane. One of the things I love about this, though, is how much effort he does put into faces. Like, look at this guy. Who has, like, that's a real man. I don't know who it is, but that's a real, like, that's a guy.
He was very photo reference heavy, like very.
Yeah, and then this guy, and
so and then I wouldn't be surprised if all of these, there were real photos behind all this stuff. But if you go back one page, I did want to point out that like he was only given 6 pages. Ideally, as Colin said earlier, he would have wanted 5 panels a page and an extended graphic novel or whatever. When all of this stuff was collected, so this came out in 1990 or in 1982, was it? But when it was all the first part of the story was completed, they did a collection in 1991, and he got to go back and add pages. So he added a
That's right.
prologue, and he added a page in between these two pages.
That's right. He does. He adds these two pages,
So
which are
those are essentially page 1 and 2 of the Rocketeer story now,
yeah,
but not the
yeah,
original first page 1 and 2.
right, yeah, because then it starts here.
He pulled a George Lucas.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, where
And
we see where he introduces like because the diner, the dog shaped diner, which was like a real thing apparently.
Yeah, it was his
The
favorite
Bulldog
diner.
Cafe,
Yeah.
yeah, a real thing, but it
it
introduces
originally
this
it
because
originally
they'll
appeared in
come
chapter
back.
3, and so
Yeah,
he seeds a lot of this stuff earlier on when he gets to redo things. So yeah, there's an added page here where they
that's right.
design
There,
the,
yeah, the creation of the helmet.
and that page is still jam packed even though he got more time. And we should point out that Jaime Hernandez, I think, did the bulk of the drawing on those new pages. And
Which makes a lot of sense when you say it, because I was thinking, wow, what's going on some of these pages? Like they don't quite look, because I was looking
yeah.
out for the added stuff, and they're not quite. They're as good as Stevens, I would say, but they're not the same
The aesthetic
style.
doesn't
Yeah,
match.
the
Yeah.
aesthetic. Thank you.
Well,
Yes, that's what I'm looking
the
for.
detailing as well. Like, so if you look at all the shirts,
Yeah, there's a lot of wrinkles and folds that are left out in the.
yeah, just compare the first panels of both pages. The Jaime Hernandez pages, if you look at the detailing on the shirt, it's you have those long swooping lines or whatever. But then if you look at the shirt on the 100% Dave Stevens page, you have a lot of little lines
Yeah.
Mm.
as detail.
Yeah, there's things bunch up and they fold differently. We can also see the extraordinary change in because
Color.
I think this is a good
Yeah.
example of it of in colors between this 2009 edition of the reprints and the OG newsprint, which again he did not care for the newsprint, but I don't know. I think it works really well to put it
You
on
know,
newsprint.
we get into this a lot when we're looking at a reprint and the original. Like I've got such a I'm newsprint till the day I die, but when you're looking at the real like the redone colors by Laura Martin in the hardcover, like if you take away the newsprint, then I'm like I'm all about the Laura Martin colors. But when you add the newsprint, then I'm like but that looked good too, you know.
It does, yeah. It
Then I
looks good.
become truly torn, right?
I think what I like about the newsprint is that it fits, as you said, the aesthetic
Yeah.
of the
Mm,
Rocketeer
yeah.
itself. Like it feels like it should be a lot more beat to shit, slapdash almost, right? With this incredible line work.
But I
That
really like the two-tone colors that he uses. Like if you take the hands in panel 5
yeah,
where it's just red, whereas she actually colors every
yeah,
single texture what it's supposed to be, that kind of takes away from it a little bit. I prefer the mood set in panel 5 on the newsprint. You know?
yeah.
I'm reminded of like when Greta Gerwig was getting started directing on Little Women.
Hmm.
She tells a story about how she had a conversation with Steven Spielberg, and she was thinking, and she primarily, I think, films digitally as most modern filmmakers do. And Steven Spielberg implored her, that is a period piece you need to shoot on film. It needs
Yeah.
to feel old, right? You need to
Hmm.
embrace the aesthetic. And so Dave Stevens is working in an era, right? And
Mm.
embracing pulp. And so it should be on shitty paper, I think. It should, or at
Should be
least
on
like
pulp
have the
paper.
aesthetic
Yeah.
of that. Whereas the Laura Martin stuff is glitzy and polished and perfect. And I don't know, there's a cognitive dissonance going on, I think. It feels wrong.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
feels. Yeah.
But you wouldn't know any better if you hadn't read the originals either, right? Like
That's true.
you
Yeah.
would assume that this is just, and it does, if presented like that, it looks great. I mean, it's Laura Martin, and I'm sure Dave Stevens would have appreciated it too. I think Eric, you were saying before we started shooting that she had colored a pinup for him, which he loved, or
Yeah, so
something like that.
he had died before this new collection came out, but before he died, yes, she colored a, like, he was skeptical about digital coloring, but she colored a pinup and he loved it. And I so I think that he, I mean, I don't know, but I look at his art and his color, how he colors his work, and he embraces this um, airbrushed type look, which is very very 80s, I think. But
Well,
and
yeah,
she's embracing that very airbrushed look. So I think Laura Martin is coloring it to how he would love it.
the
And
way she thinks he wants.
well, I think that he would want it that way.
Yeah,
I think he would look at that Rocketeer collection and say, finally, it looks right, because he does not like this image we're looking at right now. He thinks this is
yeah.
horrendous.
Yeah.
He really doesn't like the loss of lines, because in the newsprint especially, because he is quite like, he wants it on Baxter paper, which is the pure white non-glossy paper that I think it eventually gets printed on.
And
Um,
oh yeah, in like chapter 3 or 4. But
yeah,
you can understand, like, he is spending a week on a page.
Mhm.
He did the
yeah,
coloring, lettering,
yeah. Look at
penciling, inking,
all of
writing.
this
He did
Yeah.
all of
in
it.
there.
He put so much time into this, and then it's printed on newsprint, and I think he was calling it like toilet paper. It's
Yeah,
printed on toilet paper, and the line work gets a little muddy, and
it
it's
does
like
get a
all
little
that
muddy.
work he pours into it. You know, people are buying this and they're loving it, but they're not fully appreciating all the finer details, I guess.
And I think that's kind of going to the fact that he doesn't consider himself a comic book artist, right? He considers
Yeah.
himself an illustrator. He's like, he was working on storyboards for Raiders of the Lost Ark before this.
Yeah. And he did for a spell try to make it as a movie poster artist as well. So airbrush
Which I
is really up his
can't believe
alley,
he
right?
didn't, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy that he kind of just fell into like illustration and cover work.
Which is what he wanted, I think. Like, he
Yeah,
doesn't want the monthly grind. He doesn't.
that's
Yeah.
true. He did say in an interview with Amazing Heroes that as fun as drawing always will be to him, when it became a like a real job, and he was not talking about the work with Russ. He's talking about like the Rocketeer. It's like, now it's starting to become a job,
Mhm.
and he was kind of bummed out about it.
Like he's committed. He has to produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I could understand if somebody was like, this is something I made up for 12 pages one year. I just, like, it was
Yeah.
something I wanted to draw because I thought it would be cool. And now he will not be done with The Rocketeer until 1995. And he only puts out this?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
119 pages total, I think.
Yeah.
It's a very
Like,
small body of work.
yeah, I was talking to my wife about it, and she was saying, like, it sounds like it just became more trouble than it was worth. He doesn't seem to have any, like, I have a huge attachment to Luke Zenith and Scorpio Gold, and I just finished inking the second story. I'm like, man, I could take this as far as it'll go. I'll go all the fucking way with these two.
You're
Not,
still
not.
early. You're still early on.
That's
Maybe
true.
5 years from now,
That's
you'll.
true. I am under no deadlines. But if anybody wants to see it or publish it, let me know.
I, and on that note, I wanted to point out that there were 4 publishers. Like, how many comics is that? That's like 6, 7 comics,
I think it's
and
it's
4
six
publishers.
books. It's 6 books, and I think you could really cram it into 4 issues.
Yeah, but interestingly, it's like so Pacific Comics was there for most of it, and then
Yeah,
Eclipse, and then Kamiko, and then finally Dark Horse. So
yeah,
and
yeah.
and
It was.
and Pacific, ceased publishing operations in like '84.
Yeah, they just folded.
Eclipse ceased operations in 1994. Kamiko collapsed in 1990 and went into bankruptcy. So all these companies collapsed, and the final issue was done by Dark Horse, and Dark Horse is the only one that's still around.
Yeah, and even then, I think it was 3 years between Rocketeer Adventure Magazine 2 and 3. It's 4 years between the 3 or 4 years between the publishing of the two.
Yeah, there's some situation where Kamiko collapsed, and then whoever came in to pick up the remains of Kamiko thought he owned Rocketeer, and
Hmm.
so there was
There's
some
legal battles, and yeah, they even
Yeah.
make reference to it in that Amazing Heroes.
Yeah, I was going to say that interview, the Amazing Heroes interviews from '83, and the first Rocketeer Adventures book didn't come out till '88. So there's a 5 year chunk there, and he's talking about putting it together and wanting to make it right and everything. So it took 5 years from that point for it to actually finally come out.
Oh, and that one was a different lawsuit. There was a Marvel lawsuit in
There sure
between that one.
was. Yep.
Yeah, Marvel,
Yeah.
I guess, like there was a Daredevil character called Rocketeer or something.
There was a team called the Rocketeers,
Oh,
and and they were like, and Marvel said came out in '75, and Marvel said, "Hey, we own that," and it's not really resolved until a fan of Dave Stevens sends him, I think it's a 1962 or 1963, one of the earlier publishers. I can't recall the name now, but it was not Marvel, Atlas, or Timely, that was also called the Rocketeer. So it was proof that, like, well, this is just kind of a generic name in comics. There's no real. It's like it's kind of like it's not the same as, but it struck me as similar to Captain Marvel. Like, well, you can call anything Captain Marvel. Marvel is a word that appears across comics, but you can't title your book that or something like that, right? Where it's like, well, we can use this. No one really owns it.
yeah, it's multiple lawsuits throughout these like 119 pages, right? So
Which, if I think if he hadn't put so much time into it, he probably would have said, "Fine, yeah, you own it. I don't give a shit. I finished it already," or something, right?
and on that note, this is the second issue, and it's another 6 pages. At this
Yeah.
point, it's a hit, I guess. Like they didn't anticipate it would be a hit, and so they thought he would just continue doing 6 page chunks. But I mean, at the end of this,
He really dials up the use of these circular
yeah,
panels, which
Yeah.
we were talking a lot about this sort of layout structure in our Calvin and Hobbes episode for the new year, which check out our Calvin and Hobbes episode. And just like the more strange use, the more dynamic use of panels, shapes,
Yeah.
like you see this kind of weird staggering as tension ramps up.
Yeah, I was going wanting to get into the storytelling a little bit. Like I know he didn't really like being under the pressure of filling these pages with all these panels and stuff, but he came up with some pretty creative layouts. I mean, this, like you said, the staggering of the panels, insetting a circular panel within a larger wide panel, and things like that. Cutting
Yeah.
panels diagonally. But he was really just trying to he would put, it's like he would try to paint himself into, or he would paint himself into a corner, and then he would have to try to get out in some way, right? Try to fit
Hmm.
in, like even if it's a talking head scene. That's one thing I was going to say earlier, is like even his talking head scenes are very animated. Like one guy's grabbing the other guy by the collar and yelling in his face and stuff. It's not just a standard, character A and character B just going back and forth with a bunch of word balloons, right? There's a
That's a
lot of
great point.
movement and life in the scene
Yeah, he's
itself.
moving that viewpoint around all over the place. Like I love this little, like, they made it. Just the feet hanging in the air, and he's done a good enough job that, like, this could easily, if it was rendered incorrectly, look like a hanging. But
yeah.
because of like the angle of the way the feet come out, like, no, it's a more
It
gentle
needs those
slope.
speed lines for sure.
Yeah,
They're going from left to right and not up and down.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's the
do
key
think
thing.
that there's some amateurish qualities to how this reads. Like in that first panel, you have a word balloon for panel 4 kind of jutting into panel 1, which can kind of disrupt the flow. And I do get it. Like I think he designed the page around that Betty image, and then I think that created some problems, and he just didn't have enough room either. But like he didn't leave enough room for the caption. So the caption in panel 4 is jutting into panel 1,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's a
see that.
can
weird.
disrupt the flow.
Yeah,
And
you're
that's
supposed to
just
be reading it this
because
way.
of his workflow. I think wasn't the best workflow. I think he was like making it up as he went along, and he was also new. But you know, as he got more experience, he realized a lot of these mistakes, and a lot of these mistakes don't show up in later chapters. But he changed this page for the 1991 collection. This page basically gets divided in half, and he creates a new sequence for the bottom, and then takes that bottom part of this page, creates a new page, and adds a new sequence at the top. And it
Yeah,
fixes that problem that I brought up. Like that caption goes away, and it reads a lot better.
yeah, like this is. Let's see.
And then you see Betty on the next page is taken over to the next page.
Oh, he is just leaving this.
Oh,
yeah.
right,
Wow.
yeah. They don't even have that hanging bit that you brought up.
Well,
Yeah.
that's again, he's trying to just do like, I know that there's 6 panels, 7 panels on that page, but he really wanted to go for 4 or 5 panels a page, and those wider panels actually help it breathe quite a bit.
I think you're right. Yeah, because it's quite. This makes it feel a lot more like there's the space of the air. There's the of the field. You get a better feel for what Cliff is trying to do, and the reaction of everybody going through, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, in the original, he's just flying by everybody, and now
and
it
just
breathes
dropping
more.
a guy. Yeah, in like the side, on the side, right? Like from a side view, like this is a side scroller or something.
Yeah.
But this, it's like, well, no, he's all these guys are catching him,
Mm.
and then you get.
And he fixes a lot of the readability issues. You don't have like awkward, like a panel 4 caption jutting into a panel 1, into panel 1. So you can imagine he's looking back at a lot of this stuff, thinking it looks very amateurish, and fixing it.
I will say there is something off about these two figures, but I get that you can't and Betty's proportions here.
Does her head
I mean,
seem too big to you?
It does, yeah.
Good. I'm glad you agree.
But you're also
sense to say it.
But you also get a great ramp up of this character, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Betty is a real standout.
and that's the introduction to Betty, right?
Oh yeah,
Her legs.
like it's and it's akin to like a movie. The door opens, the feet are set down, like the camera's on the pavement. The feet are set down, and it moves up.
Taylor, I think though Peavy is
Like-
supposed to be the same height as Betty, or at least maybe an inch taller, but he's not a tall guy himself. I think that's what's
Yeah,
I think that looks all right to me, because if you know the panel right beside it where it's a wider shot and they're walking.
yeah. I think these two look. Yeah, that looks better. It's just this, but I can't tell if it's her head or her face or her hair or what. But I don't know. But that said, I'm not a professional yet.
You
If
are
you want to publish it,
professional
let me know.
enough. You're publishing
But
your own work. You're a professional.
that's very generous of you. Thank you.
It's fact. It's a fact.
But I think it is something like, if it happens once, it doesn't happen again, right? Like you don't see it anymore going forward. Like I think this is a good depiction of Betty.
And actually in the movie they renamed Betty Jenny. And I think I made that mistake in an earlier episode when we were talking about the Rocketeer short stories. I think John Paul Leon did a short story for that Rocketeer series. And I think I called it
John
Jenny on that
Cassaday.
one.
We did a John Cassaday episode where
That's right. Yeah.
there was a Rocketeer story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a theory as to why they changed the name in the movie, which is I think in early drafts of the movie there was a lot more of the sexualized elements. but
Yeah.
it was Disney, and so they took more and more of it out with each draft, and I think they were running away from the history of, because this is something we haven't touched on, the
Yeah. Do you want to? Who here knows about Betty Page, the
I know about
infamous
Betty
Betty
Page.
Page?
I mean, everybody does, right? But
Everyone does,
yeah,
yeah.
I think she was having a resurgence around. Like, I think Betty Page was forgotten a bit around this time, but then had a resurgence. So I just think Disney was
She
like running away from that. And well, yeah, who is Betty Page?
So she's a model. She's a glamour model, but she was also a fetish bondage model. It was, if you see the old photos, it's like as close to porn as the 1940s or and 50s are gonna let you get to, because they still have obscenity laws at the time where mailing out the wrong picture gets you
I mean,
like.
they were arresting comedians. They were.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the use of the U.S. mail a is a crime that can, because you're using U.S. government structures, like just compounds the consequences.
Uh,
It's like mail fraud, for instance, gets way more severe punishments
it's a
than.
federal crime versus a state crime.
Yeah,
Mm.
and there's just a kind of general acknowledgement that, like, well, you've included the government in your nefarious deeds here, so now we kind of got to make sure that nobody does it and just bring the hammer down. So it can be the difference between like 5 and 10 years.
And
As
I guess that underground quality is the thing that makes something bigger. Is
yeah,
it makes like Betty Page is an icon purely because I guess like it was wrong and it was illegal and
she also has
underground.
she also has a very distinctive look, right? She's very pale. She's got those bangs. Like he captures her perfectly in this, right? She's got the bangs. She's got the jet black hair. She's the 1950s goth girlfriend.
And Dave Stevens was probably, it's safe to say, obsessed with her, and like it was like a childhood obsession,
Oh yeah.
and so you're a publisher comes up and says create something, anything, you own it, put anything you want in there, and so he puts a bunch of his obsessions in there, and one of them is Betty Page. And there is an interesting history where like he ends up befriending
Yeah,
like a
and
70-year-old Betty Page in the 80s, and ends up
helping
like
her get rights back.
medicine and groceries and just taking
Yeah.
care of her.
Yeah. Which, like, that's so nice,
That's
right?
so
Like, who
sweet.
would have thought? Yeah. Yeah. This is crazy too that this ends on, okay, readers, the fate of the Rocketeer is in your hands. If you'd like to see him fly again, write us. Right? Like it's not going to be appearing in a in another Star Slayer, which I
Well, the
mean, again,
intent I think was
look,
for it to be in the next Star Slayer, but you know,
yeah. So Star Slayer number 3 comes out in '82, as we can see down here, um, and then October 1982 is when we get Pacific Presents Rocketeer and
so
Steve Ditko's The Missing Man.
this is kind of a confusing title. I think this is Pacific Presents #1, but sometimes it's called Pacific Presents Rocketeer #1.
Yeah, I've seen it referred mostly to Pacific Presents Rocketeer, but I think you're right that technically it is just Pacific Presents, and
Because
Rocketeer happens to be.
yeah, and there is a Pacific Presents #3, I think,
Mhm.
that does not have Rocketeer, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But like Pacific Comics doesn't last much longer beyond,
No.
I think it collapsed like a year later or something, so
Yeah, because this was the era, the 80s is the era of not underground publishing, because that's the 70s, but indie publishing, like true indie. There's no corporate overlords. It's just a bunch of guys trying to get comics out.
yeah, so the Shanes brothers, I guess, created
Yeah.
Pacific Comics. So Bill Shanes has a write up at the beginning of this, and I guess they were publishing like Jack Kirby's Captain Victory around
Yeah,
this
the
time.
last Kirby work, I believe. That is, I think he's supposed to be either the son or grandson of Orion from the New Gods.
Oh, okay, yeah, and he looks it.
Yeah.
But I mean, also they have, yeah, as you mentioned, they have Steve Ditko in the back here. So it's
Yeah.
and these were this was cool because everybody who worked with Pacific Comics got to keep the ownership, which was not common, but I guess was starting to become common in the 80s, and I guess it started around this time. So it's very cool. Of I guess the Shane brothers, they owned comic stores and comic distribution businesses, and so they decided to get into comics. I think part of their downfall, I'm not entirely sure, but they were publishing and distributing, which they say you should not do both.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, you're too tied up together. And you know what? It's things like this. I wouldn't say this is the sort of thing that's like overtly sexual, right? But I could definitely see in the movie Disney being like, well, she's not bending over. You're not seeing that. You're not seeing her hinge at the hips like that. Because this is, I can see why Disney would be, one, interested in this. They were chasing because they really had a lock on, until they bought Marvel, they had a real lock on adults from childhood, really young kids, like up to 6 or 7, and girls from there on up. But they had always been elusive for the 8-year-old boy through teens market.
Which is why they bought
And
Marvel.
it is, yeah. And you can see for 20 years they're trying to find something like, do you guys like the Rocketeer? Do you like the Lone Ranger? Like, what do you guys want? And it turns out it's superheroes. That's what they wanted.
Though, now that we're getting into like the later chapters, you can
Yeah.
start to see that he is doing more research for the cars,
Thank you.
for
Yes.
like the furniture, and actually, side note, he didn't base Cliff Secord off himself, but he does look a lot like him. I'm sure he took photos of himself to draw those expressions.
Yeah. What is the relationship between him and Cliff? Because
Well, he looks
you're
like
right.
him.
Like, he does look like him, but he says he's not based on him.
Well,
He puts a little bit of himself into it.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is him. I mean, and they say a lot of artists inadvertently draw themselves.
I do remember Riley Rossimo once saying, "You draw what you're best at, and what you're best at is what you are." So, like, and he uses the example of like, "I'm a short, hairy guy, so that's what I draw the best."
Make a great Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on the left page, you can take panel 2 of the left page there and put it against a photo of Dave Stevens.
Yeah,
and yeah, they look pretty much identical.
I think the difference is the hair. I think Cliff's got better hair.
But this relationship between Cliff and Betty is basically autobiographical. Like his ex-wife was, or when he was married, his wife was he wanted a housewife, but she was like a model, and she was in Hollywood, going through this exact same stuff, and these arguments were the exact same thing.
They were divorced after 6 months, weren't they?
I'm not sure how long, but
I think it was 6 months. Yeah, but she still modeled for him later on for the series.
In the Dave Stevens documentary, she basically says they were very close all throughout the 80s. Like,
His second
Stevens.
I don't know
if is her name.
I don't know if he remarried.
She was in the Slumber Party Massacre. Great film.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he remarried, but he
no, I don't think he did.
Linked with Laura Molina, who did that series of paintings, Naked Dave.
Yeah,
where she pretty much used his likeness for those paintings too.
That's right. I tried to find Naked Dave paintings, but they're weirdly.
You can't find the full series. I think there's more than a few, but there is one prominent one where you can see that. Yeah, the guy in that painting is David Stevens.
Yeah. So Brink Stevens. Yeah, to go back to the Slumber Party Massacre, I'm just going to plug checking it out. It is a satire that is shot straight. Like it's a woman writing a satire of a teen slasher flick, and then another woman directing it as though like, no, this is a slasher flick. So you get this weird dichotomy. So
Interesting.
Brinke Stevens, that does sound like the sort of thing she'd be in, and he even notes in an interview that Betty is probably stands out because she is atypical for the time period that it's set in. Like she's a ball buster that has ambitions of her own that don't have anything to do with Cliff. If he wants to come along, great.
I guess she's a post-70s feminist in the 1930s.
I was going to say.
I think she's what the 40s would call a brassy broad.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's just kind of like, well, I think she's one of those women that discovers like, well, if you're good looking enough, you can actually kind of do whatever you want.
I did want to comment on like her top right there, how he doesn't fully render the top, like he leaves lines out, and the ends of the stripes kind of reveal where the shirt ends, and this is an example of knowing when to leave detail out. And I think like Adam Hughes takes a lot from that. You can see a lot of that type of thinking in Adam Hughes art, and that's something that like we should comment on, is that Dave Stevens' work is highly influential and kind of reverberates throughout comics. Like you probably don't get Adam Hughes without Dave Stevens.
No, I don't think.
A lot of the bombshell artists like Terry Dodson, Chris Stevens Tyler, excuse me. He's like it's undeniable.
Yeah. It's bringing there's a sexuality to Betty that is not so overt that it's off-putting, because there is a line where general audiences find like, oh, this is too much. What are you doing? And she's in it in such a, I think, just the right amount that it's like, all right, babes and gangsters and rockets, right? Like you get
pretty well balanced.
In 2 flips you get rockets, babes, gangsters, back to babes. It's a good balance, considering the guy is making this up on the fly.
God, I'm just looking at those 9-panel pages and like, man.
He's cramming shit in.
Yeah.
He's favorably compared to George Perez in one interview, and he's like, "That's not a compliment." Like
oh no.
Yeah, he's very much like, I wish I didn't have to do this, but by the way I work, I kind of have to.
I have a quote about that. He says, I don't like having to cram. It's ugly and hard to read. I'd much rather be able to keep it down to a 5-panel page or even 4. And that's what I intend to do from now on, once we finish these 3 issues and end this first adventure. It's just that I haven't had enough room for from the word go. It's too bad that they've packaged Pacific Presents the way they did. He was also complaining about the newsprint and
there's a lot of print stuff that he's not a huge fan of, but
he basically said the lines just fall apart with the plastic plates and the color is just awful.
Yeah.
And
which plastic plates was surprising to me. I would have thought rubber offset.
But he basically does say, like, I think with chapter 3, he said, I'm going to try to hand color the next issue and have it laser separated, which we will see in the next couple of comics, the massive change in colors.
I wonder how big he was working, because there's a 9-panel page followed by a 10-panel page right there. Like, how big?
Well, there's an artist edition. It's your traditional 11 by 17.
This is another 9-panel page. Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is a great panel. Like, this is classic. This is kind of the series summed up.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And then old style Ditko, but
Man,
that's for
I
another
love
episode.
this Ditko stuff. I
Yeah.
love the
Is,
graphic quality of her powers.
is this where he gets? I didn't get a chance to read any of this, but because he gets real weird towards the end.
Yeah, I mean it is very very
But
strange, and
that's just another reason to let us know if you want a if you want a Ditko.
You know, seeing you flip through
Style.
that though, do you think like Fife drew a lot from? Obviously, he drew from Ditko a little bit,
oh
but
yeah,
there's
Fife is
some
very inspired
like
by
walking through
Ditko. Friend of
walls
the show, Michelle
and
Fife.
yeah.
Yes, make sure to check out our Michelle Fife guest episode in which we go over Sam Keith, Wolverine. And then we get to The Rocketeer. Pacific Presents #2, The Rocketeer, on the spot, with again Ditko. And I do think he's one of the things he complains about himself in is that the panels were kind of hard to read in earlier issues, and I think he's sticking much more to a grid this time. He's not a fan of panels that are kind of stacked and staggered and that make it hard to read. He was kind of he wasn't a, he was talking about like comics in general. I know it's in vogue these days, and it does seem like he starts to stick to way more of a grid as he moves forward.
Yeah, because yeah, he wanted much more clear storytelling, and that's another thing is you do the work, and then the comic comes in, drops on your doorstep or whatever, and then you look at it, and you can see it from a different light. And so I'd imagine he sees the published work and then realizes everything he wants to change. Like this does not read as well as I anticipated, and then you adjust from there.
Yeah, because I don't think he was that involved in the printing of, say, Tarzan, right? Like that's going to.
I mean, he wasn't doing the storytelling. Like
No.
like most of that thinking was already done, and then he was handed a page, and it's just like draw the backgrounds.
Yeah, draw the backgrounds.
For the most part,
faces.
he's drawing backgrounds, and I think towards the end of his tenure with Russ Manning, I think he was finally allowed to draw a little bit of Tarzan. But that's the thing. It's like just because you can draw, like somebody hands you existing layouts doesn't mean you understand storytelling or you've practiced storytelling enough. So
yeah, and he does talk about how storyboarding wasn't really that helpful in terms of that. Like he thought it would be, but it turns out he's got to go back and like look at old books. Like, okay, I got to actually study how this works, because when it comes to something like Raiders, like, well, it's shot to shot. It's not laid out on a panel or on a page. It's not panel to panel on a page. It's well, the camera will move or it'll cut, but either way, it's all about composition in that one image, which it does not help you when it comes to
like you have a rectangle and you have to fit like 9 panels in. Like, how are you going to do it, and how are you going to fit the crowd shot in there? And
this is going to get
a lot of problem solving.
Pulled. I hope it doesn't, but it does seem like he really gets
nudity.
No, I know, but
covered there.
But it's almost.
We make
funny.
that the thumbnail.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's funny in that, like, she does not need to be in this pose at all to make this phone call, but it does also give you a preview of what's coming up.
I do. There's a certain irony that I appreciate here, where like it's based off, it's based off real life, where photographers are taking these salacious, one might say, images of his wife, and that's like a source of anxiety for him in real life. But then he puts it in a comic, and this is probably the most exciting stuff for him to draw in the comic. Is these probably. Scenes. So there's like a fun contradiction to that.
But it feeds back into his anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but like this entire page, like he wasn't looking forward to the diner shots. He was like he was very happy drawing this Betty image more than anything. And yet it's based off something in real life that he was not pleasant for him.
Yeah, don't tell me more art photos.
Yeah.
Cliff, don't. We've been all through that. Like, I could see that being pulled from his real
Yeah.
life.
So much so that he walks out on her. He walks out on his wife. Like, he initiated the
Which,
divorce.
like, what did you think was going to happen? Because the thing is, he likes that Betty is a brassy broad, right? He likes that she's, and he's purposely writing her. It's not like she
And I
just
think he
happens to
attributes some
be.
of the success to that, of the Rocketeer, to that as well, right?
Yeah. She's not a damsel in distress, because it's still the early 80s. Like, I can't remember when Sue Storm goes from Invisible Girl to Invisible Woman, but it is late. Like, it is
Yeah.
real. It's the
It's probably the
70s before
John
that
Byrne
happens.
stuff. Maybe the
I
80s.
think so. Yeah. Yeah, because that's when, right, the John Byrne stuff is when they start expanding her powers too, of or using them in new ways. Like, well, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just a bubble shield. I can lift myself up using this. I can,
It's like force fields and
yeah, like I can shape them and move them around. But that's also
She
notable
can
for being
create
so
air
new.
bubbles in your bloodstream.
Ah, that's the best power. Yeah,
yeah.
of just like, I've created a tiny force field in your brain and I'm going to expand it slowly. Do what I say. I love this shot. This
Yeah,
is
that's
great.
great.
Yeah, like just the huge. Yeah, it's such a hero shot, uh, but at the same time also contains, this page contains this of, like, one of the
Yeah.
things that's great about this is Cliff is a regular guy. He is the most. It's any one of us strapping on a rocket pack. You're like, yeah, I could fight Nazis.
But
Like, yeah, you probably could.
not just
It's not
that
going to
though,
go well.
he gets his ass kicked quite a bit in this. Like, he's always got some bandages on his face, or he's just getting beat up or knocked out by
Yeah.
whoever. He kind of gets put through the ringer, and he still ends up saving the day at the end, which is, my
Which I
kind of
don't know
protagonist.
enough about the pulps, but is that like an antithesis to the pulps?
It
Yeah,
is,
it
yeah,
is. Yeah.
because yeah, like Doc Savage is the perfect man. Doc Savage would be the basis for Tom Strong. The whole idea of like, oh, I've created this perfect man.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was it was like when the hero just shows up, he's going to beat the guys up and win. He just had to
yeah,
show up. It wasn't There was never any fear that, he would get hurt or killed. There was never a question of how is he going to beat this guy. He would just show up and beat him.
yeah. Like the Shadow is, a martial arts master who's also mastered the ability to turn himself invisible in your mind,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing these guys can't do. And then on top of it, so this is a real guy. This is Dietrich.
Yeah. So I think at the end of chapter 5, he's named. Like PV basically says, like, I know you. You're, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because in the movie they will use, they'll say it's Howard Hughes. It's Terry O'Quinn playing Howard
Right.
Hughes
Yeah.
in the movie.
Good actor.
Yeah,
Real
And
good actor.
and
great
so,
actor. Yeah.
who is this second guy?
This is Monk Mayfield. He is the. Oh, let me pull it up because they all have nicknames.
Yeah. So
Fabulous.
the Fabulous Five, is it? They're like supporting characters for Doc Savage.
Yeah.
They are his, yeah, his pals, the guys that they're his agents, I guess. Yeah, let's see. Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Blodgett Monk Mayfield, an industrial chemist. He got his nickname from his simian build, notably his long arms and his covering of red hair.
Hmm.
He is in a constant state of friendly feuding with Ham Brooks, and then Brigadier General Theodore Marley Ham Brooks, an accomplished attorney. Ham is considered to be the best dressed man in the world, and as part of his attire carries a sword cane whose blade is tipped in fast acting anesthetic. His nickname was acquired when Monk, in retaliation for his guardhouse incarceration, framed Brooks in a charge for stealing hams from the commissary. So it's like, that's what these two are. They don't say it. There is a part where Monk will say this is Mayf, and then gets cut off.
Oh, but
But
no, actually, I think in that 5th chapter, like if you go to the 5th chapter on like the very last page, Um, he's called Colonel Mayberg. Colonel
By
Mayberg,
who?
Peavy.
Exactly. It's a mistake. It's an assumption Peavy is making, but he
Uh,
never says it.
oh no, yeah. Hughes' personal bodyguard. He's referred to. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, boss, Mr. Hughes, your boss, Mr. Hughes, for me. I just finished. I just wish things had turned out different. Mr. Who? Howard Hughes. The big guy you work for, and then Colonel Mayberg, Hughes' personal bodyguard. It's like, you don't say. It's supposed to be like, okay, well, if you think that's who I am, then that's who I am. Sure, 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 sure.
Yeah, and the fancy pants is one Noah Dietrich, which is a real
Hmm.
dude.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's supposed to be they are both occupying both spaces for both character spaces for
Which is pretty fun.
plausible deniability. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Because they also don't use the name Lamont Cranston for the shadow stuff. He's just called Mr. Jonas, which
Right.
I tried to look up, and it's not a it's in no way associated with the shadow, but everything about the character design tells you, oh yeah, that's the shadow.
Mm.
Huh.
He's got the nose. Um, he drops the word shadow a whole bunch.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a pre-existing relationship with a cabbie. Like, it's all just little things that if Street and Smith or whoever took over their inventory could say, it tries to sue him, he could say, I don't name them. That's not who they are. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I wanted to comment on this page. Like, so that splash page was originally supposed to be one small panel on the previous page,
Really?
but he was concerned with page turns in the surprise. And he,
Hmm.
like, if you go to the previous page, if you have them open the door to see a big reveal at the bottom, there's the potential that when you
Yeah.
see these, when you turn the page and see these two pages, like, you're going to see Betty right away. So he wanted to save it for a page turn. I'm wondering, can you grab the hardcover? Did they keep that as a page turn?
I believe they
Because
did, because he talks about having to rework it a whole bunch just to get it to work. Yeah. So we got
okay, yeah, which
good
is,
heavens, and then
yeah, and
blam.
that was his intent. I think he says it was kind of wasteful to have like an entire splash page for that, but
It
um,
is, but I
Would
don't know.
you
Like,
put those
he's
side by side?
he's really good at drawing Betty,
yeah,
right?
I'd imagine he he's rationalizing saying it's wasteful because of the limited space, and like, but he had a good storytelling reason for it, and I'm sure that was the most fun page,
That's not
most
a
fun
redraw, is
he
it?
had on a page, because he's a more of an illustrator, I guess.
Yeah. What were you say?
That's not a redraw, is it? Or he may have
I
just
don't think
touched it
so.
up.
Oh no,
No,
it's the
it's
same.
recolored, but
Yeah,
I think what's happening is a lot of lines are missed,
that's right. Yeah,
especially in
probably.
Betty. Like, they've come out a lot better in this version,
Mm.
but a lot of these are crunched down or just lost completely.
So I have a problem with these colors. Like, Laura Martin's great; she's a legend. Love her on Planetary and everything. But um, there's a thing with modern colors where, like, they're kind of competing with the line work. I mean,
Hmm.
they would. I mean, you could argue they're enhancing the line work, but it's sort of like, the way I see it is like, when the colors are this prominent, there's two lead singers. It's a duet, and I just want one lead singer. I want the line work to be the star, and the colors are just there to enhance it a little bit. But I mean, I don't even know if I'm phrasing this correctly, but like, when the colors are that prominent and that loud, it distracts away from my favorite element, which is the inks.
Which is not like that's all of us, right? Like, we're paying attention to it. I think in terms of audiences, though,
It
like,
definitely, yeah.
the weird thing too is
It's all about
I
the complete package, right?
yeah, but I also can appreciate for Betty alone that these colors work. You obviously can't have two coloring styles actually competing with one another across uh, a story, but I think unto itself, it really works for her because it is supposed to be glamour shots, right? Or whatever. But it's clear she's supposed to be standing out.
Yeah.
So when it comes to it, I'm like, well, for this specific image, I think this is better than that. But going forward, even for like the next page, no, I think I prefer this. But you're also losing a lot of. But I can also see you're losing a lot of. Like there are lines here defining the shape of her deltoid that are just completely gone here,
Oh,
just
interesting.
because they can't reproduce it.
Yeah, and I mean Laura Martin's talent is undeniable. Her skills.
Yeah,
She's like she understands the human form so well with all this modeling. But I'm just talking personal preference. I
yeah,
like the flatter colors.
yeah. I mean, me
Yeah.
too. But I can appreciate why you would put out, especially to say like newly colored by Laura Martin. Like people would be like, oh, great.
And
They're
I do think that Dave Stevens would. I mean, we know he doesn't like this newsprint color. Like he doesn't
really
like
does
this colors
no.
version. They recolored it for the 1991 collection, and so we know that like this recolor is more in line with what Dave Stevens wants. But
But you also miss out
and
on stuff
it's
like
all
this.
about artistic
Yeah, I was gonna say.
appreciating the artistic. Yeah, I like that too. I like the bold choice for emotional effect, like
Hmm.
stuff like that, rather
Yeah,
than
less.
the more
Yeah, it doesn't
literal.
need to be representative. It can just be, I don't know, symbolic, like symbolic coloring, I guess.
Yeah, which like Jordi Belair is coloring Assorted Crisis events, and she's all about that. And I'm over the moon with what Jordi Belair does. And yeah, this is more in line with her
Yeah, I mean,
style.
just look at this. Look at this. Amazing art from our boy Eric and Jordy. Look at this.
Eisner
Oh,
winner Jordi Belair.
oh, but that's all you get. You want to see more? You
Yeah,
got
you
to
got to
pay.
pay.
Uh, yeah, it's interesting to note that Michael Kaluta wrote a letter into this letter page, and yeah, in the previous issue, Kevin Nolan wrote in, so like a lot of pros were appreciating it. It is big among fandom. Pros loved it. What's interesting about Michael Kaluta writing in is that
Yeah,
in
we got
chapter
Kevin
5,
Nolan and Mike Kaluta there. Yeah.
yeah, and if you go to chapter 5, the back cover is drawn by Michael Kaluta. So I guess they spark up a friendship, and then Michael Kaluta ends up doing backup stories in the follow up, the Rocketeer Adventures
Oh, we'll
adventure
get to that.
magazine,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then
Yes.
eventually Michael Kaluta ends up helping out with layouts for later issues. So it's a
Which
fun
makes
little
sense.
thing where Michael Kaluta writes in and then gets to participate later on.
Yeah, he seems to know them because he's, well, we'll get to it,
I
but
think there was a scene there. There was the New York scene, and then around this
mhm.
time there was a like I guess California scene, which like
Yeah,
Mike
it sounds like a
Mignola,
southern,
Arthur Adams were a part of.
yeah, Southern California scene. It's all yeah, it's all the LA and associated areas guys, which makes sense, right? Like this is set in LA, old style Los Angeles, but even so, it's crazy how short this is too, right?
Yeah, this is billed as like the I mean, look at how big Rocketeer is seen on the cover, and it's how many pages? Like this looks
Yeah,
like a Rocketeer comic. It doesn't look like a
it's
Pacific Presents
12.
comic.
It's 13 pages. Yeah.
Even the when he finally does get like the Rocketeer Adventure comics, those are only
Hmm.
like 12 pages as well. So
Yeah.
14,
Right.
15, yeah.
Yeah, which we'll talk about. But nothing else for
well,
chapter
I
4 here.
this is interesting because like around after this he does an interview, I think, and he's asked, "Are you going to wrap it up with the next chapter?" And
Okay.
and he
Yeah.
says, "Yeah, I have to. I have no choice. We decided that
Yep.
a long time ago, and I've got to stick to it no matter what. No matter how many little extra things I throw in, I've got to tie it all together now." And he also says he has no idea how he's going to wrap it all up in one chapter.
Which is when he lays out how he works, and it's such a what a stressful way to work.
Yeah, I think he makes reference to how he stares at a blank page often, and Yeah, here's a quote. He says, "I sit in front of a blank paper for hours and days, sometimes without clicking. That's what happens when you're doing something that is not pre-written or you didn't set out on any kind of plotted course."
Oh my God, that's
Alan Moore was
absolute.
saying something along those lines. He was talking about writing an introduction for or something for some collected edition, and he goes, "I sit in front of my word processor," is what he calls the computer, and he's literally just sitting there like this, and then he'll type a couple sentences, and then he'll just go back to this, and then he'll type another couple. Like that's pretty much it. You're just staring at a blank page, and what comes
Well,
to you when it comes to you.
a blank page can be paralyzing. Like I
Yeah.
I I collaborate with writers, and so I always say like I don't start with a blank page. I like the script is not a blank page, and that's my starting point, right? So it's got to be pretty paralyzing to be writer, artist, letterer, colorist, and you have to start with a blank page. And especially like he didn't plot a course. Like it would be less of a blank page if he knew exactly how it was going to end because he figured it all out ahead of time. But
Yeah, he seems to have at most the loose sense of a pulp serial basic storyline, right? But then but on top of that, he's also got to design stuff. Like, this is not a real plane. I don't think this is a real plane, right?
oh
But
no,
I don't think so. But it looks,
a new experimental plane, the Locust.
yeah, low.
Looks like a moth.
There was an interview I read where he had piles of reference. Like the interviewer, I think it was
Yeah.
Diana Schutz. The
Hmm.
interviewer was asking him about how reference heavy he was, and he pulls out a stack of reference images for a plane, basically saying, "I'm this is what I'm working with."
Yeah. Well, this is the sort of thing that would show up. Like, this is a cousin to the giant flying wing that Indiana Jones fights that giant Nazi uh, in and around in Raiders, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's just
Okay.
it's not the same thing, but also it's the same kind of like, well, what can't we do? What do we do? And here, there's no budget for it. There's no budget limitations, so you get this kind of crazy looking plane that almost seems like it works, almost.
Well,
But
but on that note about how slow he was and the sort of paralysis, uh, he was a perfectionist as well, which can be pretty paralyzing. Uh, he- there's all these stories of how he would have a perfectly fine drawing and he would just throw it away because
yeah,
it wasn't working.
it wasn't
And
working.
he was also so reference heavy that there are stories out there of like, I guess he would have most of a figure drawn, tight pencils, but then he'd have like the rough part of the arm, just hadn't figured it out yet because he was still looking for reference of the arm at that specific angle.
Which is surprising, right? Like, he's an artist. He's gone to school, right? Like, he
And
knows what
I'm
this is
I'm
all
sure he
about.
knows the anatomy and he could draw it a specific way, but it's not perfect. It's not like he knows where the muscles are, but he doesn't it when the arm is in a specific way, there's like awkward weird ways that like the fat bunches up against, like you were pointing out with that Betty image where there was
Mhm.
the lines there like denoting
The
like
dump.
that's something that he would leave out, but like with the
Mm,
perfect reference he knows it bunches up in that specific way, and so he could draw it, and it's just in his
but
mind
because
it's
he
not
doesn't,
perfect.
right, he can't reference something, so he doesn't know it's perfect. He can think it, but he doesn't know
Mm.
it. Huh.
Uh,
Well,
and, uh, yeah, here's another quote. He said, "My whole problem, and I think the problem people who read comics are going to have with me, and have had with me, is that I'm a perfectionist in a field where there is no room for perfection and there's no need for it." He says, "I am not a comic artist. I am in
mhm.
all appearances, but when I have to sit down and do it as rapidly and competently as everyone else in the business, I can't. Not everyone can be John Buscema and sit down and drop right in front of it and go and not let up until you do a book. I could never do that. My talent kind of shuts off and on. I force it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Very seldom can I sit down and out of a wonderful flash of inspiration draw something perfectly. It's always a tooth gnashing, hair pulling, agonizing bit of work, hours of sweat before I come up with a thing.
It's, yeah. But at the same time, like, what a great panel this is, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I wonder if he was kicking himself over it, because he's like, oh, well, I didn't draw PV, but we know that's PV. Like, this is the sort of thing that he probably should have done more of.
Yeah, and there are points where he starts to embrace a bit of more cartooning than normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
so yeah, it is, and it always is a little surprising to me because yeah.
But I can also appreciate that if you think of yourself as an illustrator, like a commercial illustrator, then, well, there are some things that he won't allow himself to do, or will only allow them under dire circumstances. But I did want to bring attention to Andy Kubert doing the letters. If any of you have watched our
1983,
April 1983 is when this came out. If any of you have watched our Kubert Brothers various ones, you'll know that these guys were real jack of all trades when it came to comics. And here you can see,
I think that he was probably right out of the Kubert school.
Yeah,
and working as a letterer. Very cool.
It is very cool. Yeah, to see stuff seeded throughout. All right, and now special edition, The Rocketeer from Eclipse Comics, which
this is basically the conclusion.
It is, yeah, but it's also like this is the only time he works with Eclipse.
Now, the cover is painted by him in that kind of airbrush style, which is what he was going for. So I think this lends kind of to Laura Martin's approach to the recolor, right?
Yeah, because he was saying that he uses gouache, which he described as pretty unforgiving, and I wonder if that's what gets that effect.
Oh, so how would you do that sort of airbrush effect on the Rocketeer's pants?
You mean like throughout there or throughout here?
Yeah, or Betty's that is an airbrush. It's an airbrushy looking.
Yeah, this is very airbrushed. Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, I think because I don't know much about gouache other than it is an opaque watercolor, so I assume there's a lot of blending and layering that goes on with it.
Well, yeah, and that's in line with how, as Colin said, how Laura Martin was coloring it. So
yeah,
and so the coloring in this is a lot more different, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's just he's listed as just by Dave Stevens, right? Letters, Carey Graphics, colors Joe Chiodo and Dave Stevens.
Oh, Joe Chiodo. This must have been one of his earliest works.
That first drawing that's repainted there. I like that approach. The bronzing of it.
Yeah. As we
Chiodo did that?
Said at the top.
It's hard to say because they both get the credit, right?
Yeah, they both get the credit. Because as we said at the top, this is the very first thing that he ever drew for it. But yeah, you're right. I think I like this better. It's a lot more graphic and feels more coherent with the use of all one color and just the tones that he's using.
Why not throw the Laura Martin one up so we can see three different ways?
Triple threat.
Here we go. Let's see if we can cram them all in.
Yeah, it's interesting the different approaches.
Well, he was talking in interviews about like where do you want to take the Rocketeer next? It's like movies. This is a movie property. It's low budget.
Hollywood guy.
Yeah, and it's I think he was envisioning the way he talks about it. It's like it's a low budget. It's not stars. He wants it to feel closer to the serials, right? He doesn't want.
That was some of the clashes with Joe Johnston, the director, because Joe Johnston wanted it to be a big budget.
Which makes sense, right? Because Joe Johnston, what was he? He was AD on Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Worked
he
his way
was,
up.
yeah, and he was kind of primed for this character, right? Like he was envisioned as, oh, yeah, great choice. And I think this is kind of, and when he's like, that he prefers this, I think it's an indication that what he really wants is a Rocketeer movie series, right? Like he wants this it to be colorful and big up on the screen. He wants it to be like he wants spotlights.
Mm.
It should be noted that on the subject of like recoloring, that when they did release the 1991 collection, collecting all 5 chapters, they did recolor the first 4 chapters to be more in line with this.
Mm-hmm.
And in the documentary, the Dave Stevens documentary, Bruce Timm is in it, and Bruce Timm is credited as coloring, as doing the recoloring.
Oh, cool.
And they also talked to Jaime Hernandez, who contributed to a lot of the redone pages.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, which you can see in the collection. I do recommend people get the Rocketeer collection. I got to pick up my own version of it just to have like that reference. I'm looking
And
at
the
it
Arts
off screen
edition.
here.
The,
Yeah, oh yeah, that would be great.
is,
So this character is Doc Savage. Like that's who this is supposed to be.
oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is that as you may remember from the 2004 Aviator movie, Hughes would fly his planes himself. So it's again like, is it Howard Hughes or is it Doc Savage? Well, it's one of the two. It's kind of situated as both.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, how many pages is this issue?
This is quite a bit.
Because this
It
is
goes on for a while.
what's interesting is you get a lot of like 5-panel pages. So he's finally,
Yeah, it's got 20 to work with.
yeah. So this is how he wanted to draw pages. He didn't want to have to cram. Like
It
all
would
that.
take him 20 weeks to produce this, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, just based on his own estimates. But at the same time, like, I don't think I've ever seen pants wrinkles drawn that well in a comic, right?
I
Like
mean,
that's how
heavily photo referenced. So he,
well, and he's also like he's chosen a very specific style. I had to look this up because the Rocketeer famously has the aviator pants.
Right.
yeah.
And I was like, why that? And it is because this is what pilots in World War One would have worn, because these are actually cavalry pants for riding horses. Because in World War One, it was such a quick shift in technology, the cavalry went from horses to planes. That's where they pulled a lot of their pilots from. So I believe it's called a secumorph, something like that, where like it gives you all this extra room in order to ride something. And it takes them a while to get out of that mode of thinking to like, a jumpsuit would be better. But
So I mean, that's an aesthetic choice, not a practical.
yeah, well,
choice.
it was an aesthetic choice for the military to keep the basic cavalry uniform.
But I'm talking on the Rocketeer. It's a.
I think it's also an aesthetic
so,
choice
yeah.
to give that feel of old timey aviator.
Right. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, it's just that those little details that fill in the world that makes it feel. Yeah, like you don't see people wearing that in planes post or in World War II, because they finally get to like, nah, jumpsuits. That's what we're going with. Like you don't need anything else. But at this time, between wars, it's just kind of like leftover, and it's because, well, this is where we came from. What else do we have? There's nothing really prompting them to change anything. But what I love about it is that he takes into effect, like he's clearly found reference for these cavalry pants, so that like the bunching up, like the pocket pops out.
Yeah, it's
You
very.
know, it's just so. I wish I could draw wrinkles half this good.
You can.
Well, yeah, you can. Another great page layout. I love this. I think this is where circular panels should be used, kind of in the as a central
I
spoke.
kind of want to play around with this. I want to start playing around
Yeah,
with circular panels going forward, just to.
that would be great, especially with your time-based stories.
Yeah, got to find the right issue for it. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I like how you get like a yellow sky here. Like it's not
yeah,
literal. You don't get the literal blue sky.
yeah. It's a lot more because what is it in? I want to say it actually is a blue sky because I pulled from it for the drawing that I did.
Yeah, and like I will say
Oh,
that.
okay. It's actually quite muted.
Oh, okay.
It's similar, but not exactly the same. Oh, but that's interesting. Anyway,
Huh.
this is the paper that he wanted. Like this
This
is
is
what came
Baxter
out of his
paper, right?
notes. Yes, this is the Baxter paper. It's white, it's matte, and it holds color and line a lot better.
Yeah, you can appreciate all the work he put into the line work. And
Yeah.
again, you look at Betty, and it has that very airbrushed quality to it
Mm.
that Laura Martin embraced.
But it's not so much to like there's no like highlights on cheekbones or not very prominent ones. Like there's still some flatness. It's really
Some
more like
subtlety.
yeah, like the hips and legs are popped out by the light. But it's not I don't know, it's textural based, right? Like those feel like satin pillows as opposed to something flatter on like flatly colored something.
And it should be noted to anybody who's watching this that like that this comic doesn't fully, the colors aren't being reproduced completely accurately in this video. Like the
Mhm.
room and the lights in your room, the lights bouncing off the walls are
Yeah, they're
affecting.
not it's not perfect. No,
Yeah.
but
So
here,
to
see if we
fully
can get
appreciate this comic, you kind of have to track it down, even though it's probably cost you like $15-$20 or something. So yeah, I don't know, but it's a beautiful comic.
it is. Yeah. Yeah, and he does the action really well here too. Like it really does have that feel of high flying adventure. And he says he doesn't like stuff like this, but I don't know. This feels like well, like we were saying in the Calvin and Hobbes episode, like well, it's action, so it should be like shifted and the panels should
Yeah.
hold and reflect what's going on in them.
If chaos is going on, the panels should be jumbled in a chaotic way, I think. I mean,
Exactly.
and that's not a hard rule, but it just helps sell the storytelling, the feel that you're going for.
Yeah. It's crazy that this goes on so long though. Like I thought for
There
sure,
were
oh, this is the end of one story and the beginning of another, right? No, it's just
Yeah,
continuous.
there's rough layouts for that page on the left. It's interesting because he uses I guess he just does a quick marker drawing of everything, and as the initial layout.
Oh wow. Yeah, look how tight those marker layouts are.
Yeah, he
Yeah, it's
properly
crazy.
blocks everything in, and
Mm,
that's really helpful for saving time when you're actually drawing the page, is to properly block in the characters and props and everything.
Well, and this goes to show that like when he's doing the final drawing, he's heavily photo referenced. But if you look at these layouts, like he can come up with stuff straight out of his head, and it looks
yeah, like
good.
he knows what he
Yeah.
wants. I like this little sequence here too of like walking away and then or yeah, he's walking away and then it's them approaching. It feels very cinematic even when he's cramming stuff into very small spaces.
Yeah, and cinematic is probably what he was going for because he
I think
was a
so,
Hollywood
yeah.
guy and he had visions of this being for the movie he gave the option rights to a couple of screenwriters for no money just because he trusted them. Just
Yeah.
like go around and pitch this.
And he was super involved in the production too. Like he was a very hands-on guy.
Yeah, in an unusual way for that time,
Yeah.
especially like creator-owned comics. didn't get made.
Right? Yeah. But and it's funny that it like it's I think it's remembered a lot more fondly now, but it was not a success.
Yeah,
It was like
which is
it's
why
now
they
the sort
didn't
of
make
thing that
more.
yeah. Yeah, it had a budget of 35 to 40 and it made 46.7, which is that's no good. It had to make 60 at least to get just to break even. But like this is a real plane. I think he's modified it a bit, but he was talking. I saw him, read him talking about like, yeah, this is a real plane. It's a little modified in the way that Cliff would modify it, but it's the it's the correct choice for Cliff, who wants to go incredibly fast.
Just so impressively drawn.
And also, like, I think that's the Warner Brothers lot behind the plane.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we go to the previous page, what did you guys think of the cartooning here?
I wish he would have done more of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found it a little jarring because it doesn't really fit with the rest of the comic.
Yeah,
but
this guy doesn't fit either, right?
yeah,
Like,
It doesn't take you out. It didn't take me out anyway. Like I liked it a lot, you know.
I mean, I like it, but it was surprising to me.
You think it conflicts with the aesthetic, or
you just don't get a lot of cartoony stuff like that throughout, like cartoony action. Like I mean, that's out of a cartoon, right? Like his hat, is leaping off his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, like especially going from this, which looks like the most faithful reproduction of Doug Wildey's face in existence, to 2 pages later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's actually why I wish he would have done it more, just because you could have created that aesthetic, right? Of, well, this isn't a movie or this isn't real life. This is a pulp comic, and yeah, sometimes cartoony things happen.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of Doug Wildey, there's a Doug Wildey pinup right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then Russ Heath does a pinup. So
Gray
all his
Morrow,
friends.
Murphy Anderson,
William Stout. I think that was William Stout was in a studio with him, studio space.
Yes, yeah, which he credits as helping him get anything done, because there's other guys around producing stuff. He's like, well, I gotta now, and guys to look over his shoulder and go, the hell is that?
Yeah, and they gave each other gigs.
Yeah,
that's the William Stout one.
William Stout, Russ Heath,
Mike Kaluta.
Is that who that is?
Jones.
Bruce Jones, yeah. Like, which weirdly, I think this is actually the more representational version of Betty Paige. Like, that's her face.
I mean, it's the same. Like, that's the face that Dave Stevens was drawing all throughout. Don't you think?
I think it's a lot. I don't know. I was flash a picture of old Betty Paige, just her face, of course. But I don't know. There are differences. I think he's idealized her in a lot of the construction of Betty. DNA agents. Crossfire. Oh yeah, and then they had the Betty lookalike contest.
Right. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I guess like that was the end of that story, and then he just has like 3 issues left. And
yeah, Rocketeer Adventures.
He got a lot of help with these last 3 issues from other artists.
Yeah, which is strange because, well, maybe not strange, but it looks like it does look like a shift in style, and I couldn't quite tell why while reading it, but knowing that he got a lot more help makes sense. Like, I don't know, there's something about that face that doesn't quite feel...
Oh, well, actually, I think this first one might, I'm not sure, but it might be all him. I think it was the later issues that, well, and he did redo some stuff too. So
right.
Actually, if you go to page 12 in this and compare it to the trade, you can see that he, after the fact, redrew the panel 3 face, which, to be honest, like, I prefer the original. It has more character, but I guess the fix he made is more realistic, I suppose. So he just changed the mouth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do want to draw attention to this: the nose poking out over.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's the and that's the beginning of, well, not the beginning. We also have this, but this guy is the shadow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The shadow's design was that he had a very prominent nose and then a red scarf going right underneath it. So the nose poking out is kind of is another indication that that's who this is.
I like it. That's pretty clever.
Yeah. And then, of course, man, one of the most famous images from this book.
Yeah.
Like I think I had seen this before I'd seen anything else from the Rocketeer, just based on, like, people had cut this out and slapped it up on the internet as soon as the internet existed.
Actually, it's interesting. This first page is, I think, in this entire comic, that's the only time the Rocketeer appears, and I think this is just a dream sequence, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it
dream
is.
sequence.
Yeah, and that's, I wonder how it would have gone because this is a lot of like gangster stuff. Like there's almost no Rocketeer shit in here.
Well, and I think at this point, he's like 5 or 6 years into it, and he probably was starting to lose interest and was thinking of other ideas.
I think so. Yeah, this is probably like, well, 88. This is probably around the time that he's selling or the pre-production for the movie has started. But you got to keep putting stuff out there. So,
well, and he probably had designs on like an ongoing Rocketeer story.
Yeah, this was supposed
but
to be
it just didn't work out.
Yeah, the Rocketeer Adventure magazine was supposed to be quarterly, and the idea was that it would have 14 or 15 pages of story, and then
Mike Kaluta does backups, which these are Star Slayer. This is based off Mike Kaluta's Star Slayer. I guess it's these characters when they were children. So it's supposed to be the more family-friendly version of. No, not Star Slayer. So what did I say?
Is it Starstruck? But this is also a
Starstruck.
play. Yeah, this is a play written by Elaine Lee, who I did want to bring up just very briefly because she is the mother of fellow YouTuber and the most famous dungeon master out there, Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which,
Okay,
if you
well,
haven't seen his work on Dropout, Dimension 20, or the new season of Critical Role, where he is the guest DM, check him out if you're interested in improv or D&D, which I do recommend D&D.
Yeah. Well, okay. In a month or two, let's do a Starstruck episode, Mike Kaluta episode, because I've got
Yeah.
those comics, and yeah, it
His
should be
covers for King Conan are some of my most favorite of all time.
Yeah.
I think he did the back cover of one of these, Mike Kaluta. Well, that one. But he did a Rocketeer pinup.
That is Mike Kaluta.
But yeah, there's a really cool Mike Kaluta.
This.
Yeah. Okay. Of the special edition, he did a Rocketeer image on the back.
Special edition. My God.
Well, the
Special
chapter 5, the Rocketeer chapter. Oh, there we go. That's the one. Actually, you just
Oh yeah.
The Michael. That's a very cool image.
Yeah.
All right. And what do you think? Should we continue through the last one? I don't know. Just, yeah, this is where the shadow stuff gets real. He starts using the visual language of the other character to really hammer home. Yeah, this guy's the shadow. You finally get a lot more Rocketeer stuff, and he's keeping to a much more tight grid.
Yeah, it may not seem like it, but he is able to breathe a little bit more here.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, breathe a little more. Like he's able to, tell just like a whole ass story. There's the 4.
Doesn't feel crammed at all.
No.
Yeah, those extra pages help.
Yeah, like look at that. Like that's a great way to show he's flying and connecting to the gyrocopter or whatever this is.
And this villain that's introduced, this is some sort of old-fashioned movie reference.
I mean, the only thing that I could think of was the movie Freaks from like the 20s or the 30s, one of the two. The
What is
Google
this
Gobble,
villain?
one of us.
What is this villain called? Oh, Lothar? Rondo Hatton. He's a real-life horror actor. Rondo Hatton, known for his roles as the Brute Man and other grotesque characters in B movies.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because the pornographer that is trying to fleece Betty is also based on a real guy.
And they recreated. So this is interesting that it's based off a real guy, and then they recreated this guy for the Rocketeer movie.
Mm.
So
Oh yeah. Because they have a bunch of let's see, Goose Gander. Oh right, Ken Marcus. That's who it is. Ken Marcus is the basis for Marco of Hollywood. So he's taken. So he's doing a lot of references, and then once again, Mike Kaluta. Oh yeah, Death stalks the Midway, the final issue, because after this, after Rocketeer Adventure #2, there's only #3, and that is all there is. There's more Rocketeer material produced after his death than there is during.
That's wild,
right? And it's man,
actually
a great concept.
I read, I don't know what news site it was, but they're gonna reboot the Rocketeer with a black Rocketeer instead of a white guy. I think David Oyelowo is going to
That's
be.
right. Yeah, I saw a reference to that.
Yeah. Interesting.
In 2021, it was announced that Jessica and David Oyelowo planned to produce a revival titled The Return of the Rocketeer. The film would be written by Ed Record and focus on a retired Tuskegee airman who takes up the Rocketeer mantle, which that's not a bad idea. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
But 2001, 2021, not yet.
Oh yeah.
But
actually, can you pull up the hardcover? We don't have the physical copy of Rocketeer Adventure Magazine #3, but it's in the hardcover. And can we just look at the credit page? And if you go to additional credits, I just wanted to point out
at the beginning,
it says Volume 2 art assist by Arthur Adams, Jeff Darrow, Gary Gianni, Michael Kaluta, Stan Manoukian, Sandy Pluckett, and Vince Raucher. So all these artists, I think, helped on that third issue.
Yeah.
And I did find it fun. You can find the Arthur Adams pages. I think like a lot of this stuff is like Jeff Darrow helped with backgrounds, and so that's a little tough to find. But some of the stuff is a little more obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see a lot more. There's a lot more cartooning that comes in as it goes, and I think that feels like the result of a lot of the assists.
Yeah, if you go to the page where I guess it's towards the end, like I guess right before the big splashy final image. Okay, so the page
this guy
on the right, that's Arthur Adams right there. Like, check out that fourth panel. That's an Arthur Adams face. That hand is not a heavily photo-referenced hand that you would get from Dave Stevens. That's an Arthur Adams hand.
Even the police cap looks like an Arthur Adams police cap.
He does. Oh, good call.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was like all hands on deck. All these SoCal artists came in to help.
Yeah, that like, well, we just want Dave to finish his work. I love this image. Like, what a great splash page. The use of people talk a lot about the use of Art Deco style in this, and I don't know. It's almost like you don't see it that often. You do see it, but it's not like a huge focus. And he's even said, like, I'm not that into Art Deco. I know people say that.
Oh, he isn't?
No, he's into Streamline Modern, which is closer to... have you ever seen an industrial Italian coffee maker? It's more like that. It's Art Deco with all of the ornamentation stripped off of it. So it's a lot of rounded edges and, 3 ribs kind of running along the... or 3 pieces of piping running along the edge of things.
Oh.
It's so strange that, like, yeah, this is where it ends. Just blam. Also, I'd love to know if anybody out there knows, would this be scandalous for a woman to be walking around sans pants in 1938? Like, that
Oh,
feels
definitely.
like something a cop would arrest her for.
Yeah, because think about those Betty Page images in the 40s.
Yeah.
Salacious, and by today's standards,
and that's just a photo, let alone
walking around.
Yeah, like she's coming, like she is.
Even the dog is weirded out by it, though.
Yeah. And then, yeah, these are painted by Dave Stevens.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, and man, I'd love to check out that artist edition, but
yeah,
maybe
long out of print, hey?
No, they re-released it for the 40th anniversary, so I think it's going to be out of print very soon if you don't snatch it up.
So we all gotta really
probably $200 like the usual ones, right?
Yeah, Canadian. We have to pay Canadian money.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find some more sick.
160.
Well, that's not Canadian. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's interesting that they were able to either he kept most of it, or they were able to track all of it down, because that was the first artist edition.
Oh, okay.
That was the one that started it off.
Well, the quest begins.
Yep. Yeah, we're just gonna ruin our lives and bank accounts in pursuit of this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all artists. What was everybody up to this week? What was your art week like?
Colin, you want to go first?
You
should go. No, you should go.
Well, mine's not. Well, the audience is going to see the finished product right now, but I'm holding up just the sketch. I haven't inked or tightened it up yet. But I'm taking inspiration from Jeff Darrow, specifically his pinup that he did for Spawn way back when, the double page pinup where it was extremely detailed, and then you just see a tiny figure of Spawn in midair.
I do like the composition of your piece. Yeah.
In this case, though, I'm exploring explosions, specifically anime explosions, because I want to do a story where there's just one big explosion in a building. I don't want the building to blow up, but you know how there's like a floor with just like a puff of smoke coming out of it, like the bomb's gone off. I have a scene and idea in my head for that. So I'm just kind of looking up a lot of explosions from anime and The Matrix too. I remember the Matrix sequel specifically, they were experimenting with a lot of bloods and water. So I was looking at a lot of that stuff, and yeah, so I'm kind of applying that to this. But as you can see, like the Rocketeer is a tiny figure coming out of that plume of smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's also he's also framed very well by it too.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it's going to turn out good.
I've been keeping with my no, I'm gonna do that. I've been keeping with my watercolors. So this is the one I have done.
Nice.
Very cool.
I'm trying to approach watercolor as it's supposed to be approached. As you can see, I tore the shit out of this, taking the tape off. So that's a lesson for later. But
I love the use of white on that.
Thank you.
It's a nice gradient effect.
It's actually just putting white out onto still wet paint. And I want to actually get away from that. I need to be able to use the white of the page as the white of
why is that?
Paint.
Like,
that's apparently what you're supposed to be doing for watercolor.
Oh yeah.
Is like if you want white, you go with that's what the paper is.
I see.
Yeah, I guess the whiteout is used as a last ditch.
Yeah.
Effort,
yeah.
If you made a mistake, but
yeah. So
I think
like,
it looks great though. So
thank you.
Yeah, I
And
actually like the hunch of the shoulders, like as he's blasting
It
up,
looks like
the gravity will come down, so you'll
yeah.
actually, and like just the way he's kind of in this Mario pose is kind of shows his clumsiness a little bit because
yeah,
Cliff gets his ass kicked throughout the whole story. He's just kind of flying by the seat of his pants. I think he captured that really well there.
thank you. I'm glad that that comes across because I went through pages trying to get this pose correct. It's like, no, he's supposed to look like a dipshit doing this. It's
Yeah,
inelegant.
it's like how long have you had this jetpack? A couple of
Yeah,
weeks. Yeah.
yeah. I have also I've got some a page to
Oh wow.
show off.
Hoo-wee.
Yeah, let's see if we can get.
Oh,
Nice
that
posing down
explosion
the
looks
there.
amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
shit.
So this one, so I had Eric had graciously printed off digital pencils for me that I took with my in-laws over Christmas to ink. And as you can see, this is actually the original, and I fucked it up real bad. Like I changed this character's design, and I just realized part of the way through, no, this isn't going to work. And this is actually the only fully penciled, like physically penciled page that I've done in a
You cut a
long
panel out
time.
too?
No.
Sorry,
Why
I
do you,
Or
does
the
it make you
that
say that?
center, the center area had 2 panels originally,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Like I reorganized it and
Right.
everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Just because it was like, oh, this isn't working. What I want is, it was supposed to be like, no, he creates a new flying machine and takes off, and I thought, no, that's dumb.
No,
Just have him gallop away.
that middle panel sells it really well. It's a nice money shot of the of that character.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool. Did you get all 10 pages done, or?
I sure have. Yep, I've scanned them, and I am currently cleaning up because I messed up quite a few faces that I ended up trying to white out and then drawing over way too soon and making even worse.
Well, I should say that I did some art. The art I did isn't thematically relevant to this episode, but somebody commissioned a Bruce Banner turning into Hulk.
There's an explosion in
art
that
piece.
though. It kind of applies.
Yeah.
Yes, the thematically relevant to the explosions that we saw in the Rocketeer. No, I don't know. Well, I don't know if the lighting is doing this justice, but maybe I'll insert.
Hell yeah.
No, that's pretty much the greatest thing
better-
I've seen you do.
That's
that's nice.
great.
I love the mushroom cloud in the back. It really warps the perspective nicely.
See, and you're using the white of the page as the brightness of the light on the Hulk.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I kept the white here, but then I had to add some white out there. So again, like last you're right, last ditch effort.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I think that's where you use it rather than like, oh no, I made a mistake and go back. Great stuff, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
oh, thank you. So I got to ship that off to the person who bought it.
Right on.
Yeah. That's right, because you can get a commission if you want. Just contact Eric. Actually, you can contact any of us for commissions. We don't care. We'll draw whatever.
Yeah, send us a DM through Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, go on my website, ericxyz.com, and you can see the prices and way to reach out. And Taylor, you've got a website as well, which is listed under your name right now.
Yes, check it down below. That's right.
Right on. All right. Well, should we close it out?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.